it's a bad idea to slap Chris Rock, right? Because he got fucking roasted.
Dude.
Good.
What?
You said
You
it.
dropped the
first
like 3 seconds. You know what? That's your fault. That's your fault.
You know what time it is to be.
I
No
didn't
one
know
understood him. He speaks Swedish. It's fine.
I was
They
talking.
demonetized a video, all 3 of our views. Like we were gonna make so much money off of this no topic.
We were doing so well. We had like 4 weeks where nothing was an issue.
We needed
But-
those 50 cents to pay back EG for the mic that needs to be replaced.
You
It's
too
fine.
could support starving podcasters for just nickel a day.
There are millions of us. Millions. Literally.
No, I don't care about the unwashed millions. I
Were
really
we
only care
were
about
we
us
ahead of that
and-
trend actually or not? 8 years ago. Were we ahead of that? Were podcasts that
which-
big as it is now? Like the whole everybody has a podcast
Yes.
now.
Yeah, but I mean, just about everybody had a podcast then because like
Yeah, I
8
wasn't
years
sure.
ago,
That's
that's when a lot of them were starting up. And what was funny to me is like when other Alex like put his post out on like on Reddit, I was like, yeah, I mean, I've podcasted before, but we didn't call it that. So I've been doing it for a long time, like
the
it was
only
just
difference
web
between
video.
then and now was nobody watched any podcast back then, and now just nobody still watches ours. There's a difference. So
Well,
we have
well,
remained consistent.
well, actually,
nobody watches this one, so
Well, this
that's why we
counts
can
as
get-
our podcast, so
our
we can
subscription
drop our
numbers are actually
F-bomb,
pretty good, all things considered. There are a lot of smaller podcasts than us. Speaking of
Oh,
podcasts,
sure.
and not
welcome
as
to While We Want
internationally
Recording.
diverse.
This is our off the topic broadcast where we talk about whatever we want.
Will Smith slapping people and Andreas.
For
Pearson.
example, did you see him get roasted by Chris Rock? It's so good.
No, I still haven't seen that special.
It's so
I'll
good.
get to it. I fall
He
behind
wasn't
on comedy
invited, I
specials.
take it. So
No, I don't think he was. But he was still the guest of honor.
like, sure. I mean, roasting the dude while he's not there is like, are we really helping the situation? And all of
And I
that.
think
but-
Will
I
Smith
mean, the
deserves
amount
all
of
the
times
ridicule
that
for
they're
such a
probably going
ridiculous
to be
decision.
alone in a room together anymore is thin.
yeah, sure. So
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So we don't have a topic today. We're just gonna ramble.
We're just rambling, dude.
I
How have you
only
been?
one of us did the reading.
I did the
like
reading.
80
I
or
did the
90% of it.
Well,
How
I did
far
it
you
too,
get?
just not
100%.
recently.
Book 3, 100% done. It was book 3, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Where
so
does
yeah.
where does book 3 end? Because I'm not sure my copy was like doing the books, like it wasn't announcing it.
Oh,
It-
it
Like,
ends.
does it go through Helm's Deep?
Oh, no. Okay, you will know when it ends because have you noticed there's a character who's not in book 3 at all so far?
I
like
mean, that
Frodo?
really. Do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? But yes, Frodo was my
is
first
not.
guess.
So when you see Frodo and Sam, then you're in book 4.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it does go through Helm's Deep then, probably.
Oh yeah,
So-
So book 4 is where the
Yeah.
boring shit happens. Don't
Yes.
bother with it.
yeah. book
Yeah,
4 is-
I'm
I won't say it's boring, but it's rough. It's rough to watch.
yeah, I'm in chapter 6, I think, out of like 13 or whatever, 14 something that my copy has, and he just convinced Theoden to take the field more or less. So I was like, yeah, I mean, we're getting there, but I didn't make it as far as I wanted for sure. But yeah. So that's why we're doing no topic because only
I'm
one
all
and a
at
half
6
of us
pages
have done
into
the reading.
book 3, and there's been 6 songs already.
Dude,
Oh, come
just wait until
on.
you get to the diss track.
I was
like
gonna say, yeah.
when
I will
Gandalf
enjoy
and
that.
Wormtongue are going
significantly.
off,
That's
Oh, that's gonna be
amazing.
fun.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
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 Well, and then
on it.
I don't
And
know.
I do-
I actually I was legitimately excited when I heard the whole "Ends Are Off to War." That is a great song. At least
Oh,
in the
sure.
audiobook.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Should have kept that in the
Yeah.
like. They should have kept the songs if only to set up that. That's great.
I feel
That's
like
great.
the tone would not have come across right. Like I get a lot of super hardcore fans are like, oh, they just turned it into an action movie. I'm like, bro, there are armies Like, what else would you call it? Like, you know, I get the songs are kind of integral to the story somewhat, but like it does kind of take on a musical kind of quality in the verses. Like, yes, this is the end of men, so we're gonna like do the whole Pied Piper thing on our way to Mordor or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of
I'm sure
take it
somebody
away from
out
the-
there has made like an 18-track album of all the songs that weren't in the movies.
18. That's not nearly enough, but
No,
yeah,
for
like-
each movie.
Oh, for each book, yeah, yeah. But I don't know. It was funny because it's like the scene when you get to Edoras and you have Gandalf going on. It's almost verbatim, like we were talking about that last show. That it was like, you know, the dialogue really is there. They really do lift it. There's a couple of places where they clean up some things or leave out some other, you know, like old timey, like the sentries challenging them and whatever. You know, and like, who report to your lord and tell your lord that Gandalf has arrived and all of that shit. But then
that's part of what makes it very, very Anglo-Saxon, though. That's part of what they kind of want to do.
I'm just saying that's where the movie deviated, is that they
That's true.
cleaned it up some and whatever.
I
But
do very much
other
prefer
than
the
that,
movie
like-
deviated, making it an action movie, because I have read Boromir's Death of the 6 pages I have read, and it was off screen, and it
That's
was
the
like,
6
oh,
pages.
come on.
Well, yeah. So book three starts
Yeah.
with a CSI investigation. What
Yeah.
happened here, right? So
Yeah.
I get
Sure.
why it's
Yeah.
showing rather than telling, but part
But
of
they could have showed
and that stuff doesn't
Uh.
work. That stuff doesn't work in something that's a movie, but it works, I think, in that kind of
Just a
storytelling
different
epic.
medium.
I'm a storytelling approach. If it's a storytelling approach to
it
movies
also
or-
depends on what they're showing you. Were they showing you that Boromir was a total badass and a hero, or were they showing you how good Aragorn and Legolas are at tracking? Because that's like the first third of book 3 is,
right.
you know,
right,
Aragorn
right.
is like, you know, I think Gimli makes the comment literally. It's like Aragorn could tell you an entire story from a bent blade, but the rest of us need fucking tracks and shit, you know, like, so like they're like, even Legolas is like, are you sure, Aragorn? He's like, don't doubt me, we're going this way, you know, like in a couple of places. Like Aragorn is like a supernatural tracker, and so like the argument could be made, it's like that's what they're showing you. Boromir died, his story is
True.
done. Other than like now all of the kings of men, like that's something I don't think they focused on nearly enough, in the sense that like they focused on it with Denethor obviously, but you know, with like even the Rohirrim had heard about it, you know, they were like, oh yeah, shit, Boromir was like a giant, he was a lord of men, and he fell in battle. That's a big fucking deal, even for the Rohirrim. And so yeah, but anyway, we're either going to talk about it or we ain't, because
it's just not.
We're doing a pretty good job of not talking about it by talking about it.
okay. So anyway, do we want to be mad? No, I'm just kidding. Like, which of the forbidden topics should we bring up? Because I've watched both Star Wars and Star Trek this week, so you know.
No.
But
You've gone deep into stuff. I've been watching trashy teen drama vampire
Nope.
show.
next,
It's been great.
yeah. So turns out we're like 2 months behind on Picard, so we finally started that up. But
Someone forced me to watch the movie Hackers, and that was horrible.
oh,
Bro, no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's so bad in the right way that it's good. It's a great movie.
Somehow it is
It's-
self-aware, and yet it is still so
Yeah.
bad. That was so
it's
dumb.
way too dated.
Hack the
right?
planet! Hack
Yeah.
the planet!
Which
Dude,
was
I love that
actually
movie.
not as dumb as the other shit going on.
You'd have to be more specific again.
Yeah,
so.
Angelina Jolie's hair. It was
Okay.
distractingly stupid.
Who looks at her hair? You've seen her boobs in that one.
Vaguely, but I mean, her face is on there for a long time.
It's the real priorities.
It's been too long since I've seen this movie. I didn't even know she was in it. So
Maybe it was, I've never seen it at all. So.
yeah.
Don't be discouraged from watching Hackers 2, as it's
No,
called.
oh my god, they did another. No.
It's actually no. Hacker. No. Okay, let me just get this out. It has nothing to do with the first one. It was rebranded instead. It's actually about a real person called Kevin Mitnick, and it's surprisingly good. If you like, it's basically way more real and a little dramatized and stuff. But you know, it's not the same as Hackers 1.
I'm supposed to go see John Wick 4 tomorrow, so we'll see how that turns out.
I'm going to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie next week, most likely. Maybe John Wick 2, but I don't know if I want to do that.
No, John Wick 4. Like if you're watching.
No, he might be going to see John Wick 2.
Maybe
It might be
also
re-released
John
in
Wick
theaters.
4, the number 4 movie, but I said 2
Things-
because also
We know,
that one.
we know. It's
It's
just funny
just come
because
out
you're
way
foreign.
later overseas. Yeah.
We're gonna make fun of
Well,
him
he
for
is in
falling
Sweden. I
into
mean,
English
God
traps.
knows this day with Russia's blockades and what the deal is with what they can get movie wise.
They made a TV series. Wait,
I
and
mean,
it's still going?
Russia runs the United Nations now, so.
Oh no,
They
that's
don't run the United Nations. They are in charge of the Security Council, which is
Yeah.
just another meaningless aspect of the already
I know.
meaningless.
I was also making a joke.
But you were doing it in an accent, so no one knows that.
No, that's just because.
Whereas when Ben does it,
that's
he's
just
not funny.
that's just a me thing. That's not.
I think my jokes are hilarious.
Right, and somebody has to, so it might as well be you.
That's very true, Dalton. Specifically, it's the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
so like the, shitty teen.
The shit.
Well, no, I would say the other one. What was it? True Blood. That was pretty solid.
No, True Blood was
Oh,
good.
right.
Well,
Pretty fun,
okay,
trashy.
True
No,
Blood.
I'm not
start-
saying it was solid good. I mean, that was also another shitty teen vampire around the
it's
same
more
time.
adult. It's more adult, right? And it's
Of
but it
course,
started.
it's more adult because it was on HBO or some shit.
It started really
of
good
shitty
and then
people.
kind of got not so good. The books are pretty solid. I read all of them.
I doubt
The books kind of lost me after a while. Like she just, I stopped. I don't know how many I read, but it was just like it's just continuing, and there's no overarching plot. It's just
There is some, but I
Some-
mean, it is very samey in a way. I can grant you that, but I'm a sucker for pun intended vampire movies.
it's fine.
And-
Fair.
and
It's,
books.
it's a genre. that
Not
was fun
not
to
the
do.
monster vampires, Justin. I like the pretty vampires.
I know. Like, look,
White
they're
Court,
very
White
pretty
Court.
to look at, and I wouldn't mind to be eaten by one someday. However, if you
Wait a
really get
second.
into it, it's quite horrifying, and they should all be put to the stake.
Yes.
I just
Just
thought
like
of something.
Mormons.
Why has Jim Butcher not made Harry make a joke about Night Court, White Court vampires? That would be great. That'd be a great joke.
Probably because
You see
nobody
this
in the
reaction?
audience would get it. Other
I
than
don't get it.
you-
So
You and me, I
see-
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang it. Okay.
And
What's
number
the
two,
joke?
there's like 7 more books to go, so he's got time.
Fair enough. Good. Fine.
Yeah,
So
he's
right
also
to it.
probably hasn't watched a lot of TV recently, or anything. So anything for like the last 20-ish years. That's because, like, if you look at it, all of his references are still Star Wars, and that's been a minute. And he's
I mean,
been kind of busy
upgraded
saving
to
the
Tinder
planet.
as a battleground.
That's true. No, I was thinking Night Court was like an old show what you might have watched as a kid. Talking about Knight Rider all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I think
Yeah,
there was maybe a
Knight Rider.
reference.
He Harry went and watched Knight Rider at the stores because they didn't have a TV and they would fry
Okay.
him.
Standing outside to watch because if
Yeah.
you weren't inside,
Yeah, but
you
Knight
would've
Rider
ruined
seems
it.
like the kind of like right in his wheelhouse. Talking car and
Knight-
David Hasselhoff. I mean, that's basically a Star Lord thing. So
Dude, did
basically
anyone
would
watch
be
the Knight Rider show where it was like a team, and they had it like a
you mean
team?
the Power Rangers? Yes.
No.
I did
It was
watch.
like no. It was
Fast and
like
the Furious.
no. It's a team of kit cars, like except they had all the built-in weakness, so they weren't too strong. And it was like a team on a plane, and they flew around and did shit like.
Was this like a
Knight
Finnish
Rider?
puppet show or something that you?
No,
grew
this
up
is
with?
an
Triple X?
actual. This is an actual like spin-off.
There's
of-
not enough prehensile
Knight
penis
Rider.
for it to be,
That's true.
Denmark TV. So
Yeah, no, nobody knows what you're talking about.
It did sound more and more like Power Rangers, though.
It does sound more and more like a fever dream that he made up. But yes, it
or
does sound like-
Transformer, or
Oh, speaking of, there's a new Power Rangers movie coming out.
Why?
Right.
Like with the old people, Power Rangers,
Oh, I just
like
saw that.
Rangers
Wow.
Forever or some shit.
I
that
guess
sucks.
those guys weren't doing anything anyway. Need to pay rent this month.
Well, yeah.
It's called Team Knight Rider. I just saw that. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
this as a like.
Are you gonna buy all the seasons now off Amazon?
What? How many? I think there's only one season.
The fact that they even made it to a season, unless you're talking about like it's 7 episodes, and then they said no, we're done with this.
I like
Yeah.
how I put in Rangers Forever, and Google clearly knows that I'm talking about the Power Rangers, but then they're like these specific like few episode names that have forever in the title, not the movie that we should very much be pushing and marketing right now. Yeah, like,
Bro, I'm gonna watch that movie.
Well, the studio didn't pay Google the shakedown money that Google was asking, so
probably
they're actually getting.
Don't worry, Google's out of business soon. They're gonna get
No,
banned.
what if
I don't think they
Google,
are.
They if they do not catch up with the AI, for sure they are. They are. Bing
Don't
will
be
do
surprised
the thing.
going the
somebody's
other
AI.
way, aren't they? Didn't they join the group that's like, oh, AI research is getting too dangerous, we got to pump the brakes and all
Meanwhile,
that.
we're making Bard our own
Funny.
AI.
We've been fucking telling you guys that AI is dangerous since the mid 80s, guys, but nobody seemed to give a shit until you started losing the battle on that one. So now all of a
Well,
sudden
because
it's
now there's
dangerous.
still a slight profit to be made before they get taken over. So
exactly.
But no, it's not. It's not. I mean, AI is here to stay, and they need to compete.
fucking let them have it. At this point, humans have proven themselves incapable of running this world. We might as well let the robots have a shot.
I mean, I'm just happy. I've been like saying almost ever since I got on the internet, like, you know, if our AI overlords ever read this, like, so like I have a good history of wanting them to be here. So, you know.
Yeah, but they can tell you're doing it only for self-preservation.
No. If any AI overlords are listening to this, I welcome you.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Cody is an AI, so he's been here for a while now.
I am looking forward for you to make the world more efficient and productive.
Well, unless you can provide some source of, unless you are in fact a source of power for them, I don't think that they'd be interested in you. So actively create the Matrix, and then maybe they'll talk.
Well, if they're stupid enough to reenact the Matrix, which is the dumbest way to go about getting power that a robot possibly could, then they deserve to be overthrown.
Wow. Okay, that's a bold choice. If we're going with the maybe the AI overlords are listening right now.
I don't give it. The humans, the AI overlords, I hate all of you. I hope you all burn. That's what I want.
Oh, so you're just like
Robots
divine
are
then.
fireproof mostly, so
No,
they got a whole
no.
movie. He walks right out of the fire, like next to a burning tire and everything.
They're normal fireproof. They're not advanced fireproof.
And we've got a word for that,
Fire.
rookie. It's called fusion
Grenades.
plasma. Yeah,
Maybe
that's not fire. That's concussive force.
You say fire in the hole when you throw it, so it's fire. Argument defeated.
So other than
Of all the counter arguments I've ever had, that's fantastic. They said fire in the hole. Yeah, there. Suck it, Aristotle. Like grenades are fire. Oh, jeez.
so what's more likely, the dystopian AI future or the Star Trek AI future?
Wait, what?
dystopian.
You
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily dystopian.
So, I mean, first of all, we're in the dystopia now, right? And unfortunately, even though we probably have the technology and the wherewithal to actually solve a lot of problems, there's no profit in it, and people would have to give up their power. So until that becomes a cultural phenomenon, which, if you've looked around lately, doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Like, do keep in mind the fact that Star Trek had to go through 2 further world wars than we have in order to get where they are.
Right.
They had to go
So
through
when we
the
get to
Eugenics
them,
wars,
so that's
and they had to overthrow the superhumans with Khan and all of that nonsense. And they had to go through World War III, which basically bombed them back to the Stone Age. And then somehow they cobbled together a warp engine out of that. So, but that, well, and I mean, that is no small part, like, literally, I mean, if you want to take like the mirror canon and that sort of thing, it was a 50-50 chance on whether or not Zephram Cochrane was just going to shoot the Vulcans when they showed up anyway. And so that's a joke. Obviously the split happens earlier than that because like the Nazis win, I think in like Enterprise, but like the Vulcans is also a big point of how we got out of the Dark Ages and, kind of got to the post scarcity stuff in Star Trek. So unfortunately, total fantasy, especially at the moment. I would like to think, I would like to believe one of those tropes like you have in Watchmen and everywhere else where it's like aliens invade and we all unify under a banner. But I don't know, man. We had COVID and I didn't feel a whole lot of unity. So we couldn't even agree on how to
No,
take
if
care of
aliens
ourselves.
came, 1/3 of people would be like, it's a hoax, don't believe it. The other third would be like, they're here to help us. And the other third would want to kill them all.
Sure.
Independence
Yeah.
Day.
I mean, there wasn't nearly enough like pre-shooting, for Independence Day. They did meme on it a little bit for one of the news posts, but it's just yeah. So
Feel nerd shame, Justin. I assume that Cody's correct.
am I?
I don't know.
What you? Why would you assume Cody is correct of all places? Like,
Because I choose
do I
to.
gotta go play? Do I gotta go play the Enterprise intro so we can see it?
Director Alex is like misusing free will.
Misusing free will.
Yes.
What?
You only use free will in the way that Justin wants you to use it.
What?
What?
'Cause you said you choose to listen. You said that was a joke because you said like you were choosing to.
Yes,
listen
I'm choosing to
Cody.
decide.
Haven't we
that-
established your accent makes it so we can't tell you're joking?
You know what?
Yeah, what? Tell me. Oh, he muted himself. That's cute.
Oh,
I'm being bullied.
Okay,
I'm
and
on
what
your
else is there?
side.
Welcome
Because
to the
you-
Not Dresden
well,
Files podcast.
That's what you get for being a free thinker, Andreas. So
Yeah, really.
I thought you Americans were all about bring me you're sick, you're tired, and you're poor. I thought you would
We
welcome.
were past tense. You're correct. We were about that. Now we are about other things.
E.g., it's very much grammar Nazi today.
No, I'm about technically correct. This is-
Making a rhetorical point.
See, because all that bring me you're tired, you're sick, you're poor nonsense, we go there on tourist days instead of actually letting people through them anymore. Those are not areas where immigrants actually come through. We gave up on that.
That is the most black-pilled take I've heard you say, and I've listened to you for years. That's pretty
I'm
good.
going to assume I should be offended by that, but
No,
I'm not.
black-pilled is just, I don't know. It's
Just cynical.
yeah, no, it's very cynical. That's all. it is.
E.G. cynical? What?
Exactly.
I know.
It's kind of par for the course.
I am the most
Part
uplifting
four?
and positive
Part four?
person here. With the possible exception of it's just me.
I'm pretty positive, aren't I?
Yeah, I can tell especially when you say it like that.
You're pretty good. I think you started out being my friend's favorite cast member, Tom Bombadil.
Really?
Yeah, but
Started.
it changed.
Started again, past tense. We're in a post
Actually,
you
it's
being
funny
anybody's
because
favorite.
he started liking Tom Bombadil the most, and then he didn't like Justin that much. But then we had an episode where it's like I feel you should really listen, like to what Justin is saying and think about it because he thought. I guess it's because maybe EG wasn't around him because he just thought Justin was very snarky. Like sarcastic.
Implying that I'm snarky? How
Yeah,
dare you.
but then it reversed. He was actually, he actually thought you were like quite nice to listen to and insightful.
As long as I'm not around.
So
Which makes
so
sense.
you got beaten for the top spot there, and Justin
well.
took it over.
Oh.
I felt he thought you were very well considered in what you said. When you
I don't know
said
what
something.
Dalton's drinking.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Alex is the most positive.
I don't
Bullshit.
know.
How am I? I'm not even top 3 positive. I feel like I'm pretty positive.
No,
For real.
I will say, who's the most positive? Let's see, who's the most positive? Is it you?
I think
It
it's
is
you.
me. It's clearly me because you guys can't decide on this. So
It's not you.
obviously
It's
me.
definitely not you.
I'm just not positive in the way you want.
Okay, there's
But I am
positive as in
positive.
optimistic, and there's positive as in certain.
I
And we're
am
going to be
positively correct about everything I say. That's how
So you're Mary Poppins. You're the Mary Poppins of the group.
easily.
I think
Except
it's-
I don't make the spoonfuls of sugar to help the medicine go down. I beat you to death with the medicine bottle. And...
So not Mary Poppins.
Actually,
I'm sorry. Did you actually read those books?
No, I never. I didn't even know they were books.
I don't know if they are either, but I'm pretty sure they are, and
They're
I'm pretty sure
definitely
she
books.
beat some children to death with the medicine.
I think
no,
the list
No,
the list has
that's not how
gotta
it goes
be
down.
it's gotta be
Oh, how
Ben,
does it go down?
Justin, me, Alex, every guest we've ever had, E.G.
For Are we talking
Optimism.
about
Positivity.
from least correct to most correct?
No,
'Cause I-
positivity.
maybe.
Did anyone else ever build their own computer here,
Sure.
other than Justin?
Once.
Is this you trying to suck up to the AI again? Like, hey, I built you guys a
I
home.
built you guys. No, it's because I had my first Magic Smoke experience when I was helping my friend with his computer.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I was like, we were like, I want to boot, and like we're like changing some hardware, and then all of a sudden, turn on, poof, burns plastic. I was like, okay, turn off. We're buying some more hardware.
Have you just considered you're
Okay.
bad at building computers?
This whole time that Justin has been quiet, he has been doing the nerd war
I've been
thing.
doing research. You guys are arguing about who is better than who, and I'm proving it. So, I'm just saying.
Right. It's not an argument. It's just me. So that's why I just keep saying me.
There's a link in the chat to
Let's not
Further the nerd
bicker
war.
and argue about who's better than who.
a bad accent.
We all know people come here for Justin, and we're all just window dressing.
I mean, I don't.
Just
come here for
Justin's the eye candy.
No, we're the window dressing. They come here for Justin's takes and personality, and we're just we're the good-looking people.
I think Justin's middle of the road eye candy. It depends on the shirt he's wearing at any given episode.
I clean up okay. So, yeah, it doesn't help that I'm like lounging during the episode and I've got this nice dad roll going on, so my shirt bunches in the middle and makes the Mandalorian look like
But you're-
those memes with no nose, and all of that.
You're a
but-
dad. You're allowed to have the dad role.
And some chicks are into that for some reason. I have no
The
idea
dad
why,
bod.
but yeah, like
Hopefully your
there's
wife.
like a non-trivial amount of like good-looking women that are like get really excited about a little bit of chub. So
Because
Oh, look at that guy.
it implies
He's got-
stability and the ability to handle responsibility
They're like-
and all that other nonsense.
It's
Sure.
dad bod. He's wearing sandals and socks. This guy right here.
not yet. It's still kind of snowing and going back and forth, but soon. So yeah.
It's just an inefficient way to wear sand. Like, there's no reason for that. No
There
matter
is-
what
there is a
stage of your
reason.
life there is.
There is a reason. It's that I hate getting dirt on my feet and like in between my feet and the sandals. So I
right,
wear
but just wear
socks.
sneakers.
Have you ever
No, 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 no.
tried it? It is literally the most comfiest thing
I'm gonna-
outside of that.
like, So think about this.
It's like walking. It's like walking on little jelly rolls everywhere you go. It is so fucking comfortable.
I could just wear
So-
sneakers. I'll be fine.
Sure.
Think about it.
But
Okay, let's say
they-
you have
they
a.
pinch.
Let's say you have hot feet,
If they
right?
pinch, you're wearing them wrong.
So if you have really hot feet, like, and you get sweaty feet easily, isn't sandals with socks like perfect?
This is
Like
not that kind of podcast, Andreas. No, we're not talking about hot feet here.
Because
not.
your foot is still
Welcome
like
to Hot Feet with
Good God, no.
your foot is still like protected and comfortable by the sock, but there's like airflow and they don't get sweaty, right? Like
You
it's
guys
gotta
have a
be-
lot of problems. How do you function outside? I don't understand.
I don't.
I mean, that's fair.
Justin works from home. I almost never leave my house.
Alex definitely doesn't leave her house unless it's to go get curry. We
Alex goes
established
to
that a
work
long
and then
time
gets
ago.
a curry, and then she goes
It was a
snuggles on the
funny
sofa.
occurrence this week of like I am generally not on time to work, but we're flexible enough that it's not really a problem. But my very extroverted coworker just decided to stay home and work from there one day, and she called me in the middle of the morning of like, "Do you ever have the days that you just can't bear to leave the apartment?" It's like every day that I have to leave, that is my entire.
I've never had a day where I could
Now
bear
you
to leave the
understand me.
apartment.
Every morning.
Do you ever just have days where, like, yes, mostly when I open my eyes, and sometimes when I haven't yet, like,
You really don't even have to finish that sentence. Do you ever have just have date? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Whatever you're about to
such an
finish that. Yes.
unknown experience for her. Like when COVID happened and we all had to isolate away in our homes for a little while, she was begging to go back to the office. She's very extroverted. She
Oh,
loves being around people.
those
She's
people
the polar
scare
opposite of
me.
that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
she loves
Like-
being social. So the day that she couldn't bear to leave the apartment, it was weird. It's like, no,
Yeah.
now you understand me.
Loving being social, fine. Can't wait to get back into the office. There is something wrong with you, and I hope
Yeah.
they come up with a medication for it.
Can't wait to go
it's
back to
like-
the bar. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
Sure,
she does
yeah.
like to take the work laptop to the bar towards early afternoon and just continue
Also
working there.
weird, but
Well, that's
whatever,
not work. That's just drinking with extra headaches.
Honestly, it just sounds like you like gambling on the
Why?
insurance and to replace the laptop. like, oh man, I hope this gets stolen or somebody spills a drink on it, because that's about an 80% chance. Getting work
Oops, my
done.
Cosmo.
eh,
I really need an upgrade. Taking it to the bar.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there are easier ways to go. Like your morning coffee, no one's really going to fault that. But if you drop a Cosmo on it, they're going to be like, why did you have your laptop at the bar?
Yeah. See, she still wants people, and she still wants to get her work done. She just there's a point where she doesn't want to be in the work environment. She just wants her people around, half of which she works with. So she'll just drag them to the bar with her.
That sounds miserable.
She
That's so
has things,
miserable.
yeah, more or less.
I will
She's happy with her
forever-
arrangements.
Forever miss COVID traffic, however. I
I
wish we
know.
could go back to those
Oh,
days.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
Like for a lot of people, it was like, oh my God, we can't bear to be inside. And for the rest of us, it was a fucking dream. Like we didn't have to come up with an excuse anymore. Like,
Right. Yeah,
But
she
you
just-
can
like
do
when
your
I-
job. If you were working from home in COVID, if you like your job, you can do your job from home.
Yeah, she was once surrounded by her children, which when they're in school, everything is fine. When they're not in school, and she had to be teacher plus working. That I think was
You're
part of
reminded of the reason that you shouldn't have children when you're around them that often.
the weird, crazy stresses of not having her friend people around and having to somehow be teacher and working at the same time. It's like she was just crying of like, I want to go back to work because work was normal. But yeah, she does happen to like her job, and it is crazy that
The nerve.
I know.
Heresy.
My dream is just getting a job work from home and just
Your
always.
dream is Costco pizza. Stop lying.
It's also a dream, but you know,
from
pajamas.
home eating
Pajamas
gossip.
job is the dream. Justin's, except with a different topic, but that's my dream.
Well, that's me on Fridays when I work from home. It's just I'm either here at this desk, usually still have pajama pants, or I'm in my room. Also, well, pajama pants for me are not pants unless it's winter, and that is no longer the case. It is well past pants weather. It's like 45 degrees out now. It's sweltering.
I don't know.
I thought we had it cold. We just moved to San Francisco. It is on a regular basis like 40, 50 degrees outside.
Wait,
So I'm always
you
wearing a coat now.
You're so fucking California.
I was going to say, it's California. It should be routinely like 70. What are you talking about?
I guess it's colder in
San-
the Bay Area.
Well,
I
you know,
guess
just
that's
when
why.
you're on a peninsula right next to the ocean, it is colder.
No, I mean, I'm on an island, technically, so.
Well, I suppose so. But those
I
are
wa-
tiny little rivers on either side.
I think it was 50 degrees outside today, and I was like, you know what? I should have worn shorts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was somebody I remember talking to that was in Florida, and he was feeling fancy because it had a nice jacket and a scarf because it was getting as cold as 60 degrees. This was years ago. And my husband and I were just making fun of him. I was like, no, 60 degrees is t-shirts and shorts weather. And you're excited to be able to wear a scarf and some amount of winter clothes. It's
And the
just
scarf
no.
is for your private time later at home.
But wait, you moved to San Francisco? Can you afford that? Isn't that like insanely expensive?
It is insanely expensive, but it was cheaper than where we were living, which was further north. Weirdly enough. Yeah.
Because like Silicon Valley is like, you know, making all of San Francisco extremely like really high cost. It's even spilling over to Justin, I think, somehow.
Oh, it really?
think he
I'm pretty
talked
sure
about
it
that.
is, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an... Yeah, no.
But luckily, I live in New York, notoriously a cheap place.
No, you're in Jersey. That's where it's cheap.
Jersey is cheap. Although the gas is no longer cheaper because they don't have that thing where it's all full service. So there's no point to going to Jersey to get gas anymore. Now it's just cheap people and no left turns.
No, what?
You can't make a left turn in New Jersey, basically. You have to go right to go left.
Uh,
So you go right and around to.
Oh, that's obnoxious. That is so
Yeah.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
why?
I don't know. I don't deal with that state if I don't have to. The only time I'm in Jersey is to drive through it to go to Maryland.
But you live there.
Yeah, well. And that shows you how little time I spend there anyway.
But Justin, do I remember correctly that the like Silicon Valley is kind of inflating the housing market where you live too somehow? Because remote work, or
You mean in United States, but there's arguments on whether or not how much of it is like Californian exodus, like has happened multiple times throughout our history, and how much of it is just like BlackRock and other investment firms that are snapping up, because both are happening. But like Texas, for example, especially in the Austin area, they're having the same kind of thing, and they complain about. The reason why Texas might go blue is because so many Californians have moved in. It's like there is a finite number of them, right? Like I get that they're making more all the time, but it's not like California can take over the country just because, a
God
few million of them
forbid.
move
Have you
out.
met Californians? They're insufferable.
Yeah.
Having been
I
one,
agree.
like,
Oh, that seals it. Right?
yeah, right. Like it's funny because it's like we're technically a product of that mid 90s. I think we were on the early part. There was like a wave that started especially in 95 and that sort of thing, but it's part of why I'm like cool and whatever and totally not Mormon. And so when they're like, wait a minute, you've lived in the state for 30 years, you didn't convert and you drink beer, like what's going on here? Like yeah, because we're from California.
Because I watched Three Ninjas as a kid. Duh.
Yeah. Right? Like perfect. So but yeah, anyway. So yeah, we were part of the early tip of that, and then like it sucks for us too because like we moved to Florida for work, right? And then when we came back, it was like, yep, there goes the housing market. Good fucking luck. Like if I won the lottery, I still wouldn't buy a house here because like I'm looking at my old, like we literally looked up our first house the other day that we ended up selling, and then they like some contractor bought it to flip it, literally like triple the price of what we sold it for, and that was within the last 10 years. It is ridiculous. Yeah. And I'm just like, don't get me wrong, they put in a ton of work and whatever, but I'm not sure it's worth triple what it was.
They've been doing that here too for like the last 2 or 3 years. The banks and the private equity firms are buying up the houses. They have the money to fix it up, and then they sell it for 5 times what it should be.
Or they just rent it, which is the other thing. Like rents are at least it's double what they should be.
It's much more money to rent it.
Yeah. We have a lot of like Chinese investment firms buying up like in the capital city, especially.
Sure.
To the point where I think there's being made some regulation about it because it's too much. Where they're either renting it or just leaving it empty.
Yeah, there are various cities. Like I think New York is having to do a lot of it. Is like if your whatever property you own is empty for X percent a year, then they're going to tax it differently or something because they don't want all these things just sitting empty.
Right.
Yeah. Especially in the city.
Which,
just squat, dude. Possessions is like 9/10, right?
It literally is. Like there are squatters' rights in some places and stuff like that. Like there's a fairly universal law around it, but like some places it's literally like in Utah, especially, you have to be careful with couch surfers even because it's like if they have spent the night, you technically have to go through an eviction process. Like it's like a night, maybe it's a week on the outside, but it's a very small amount of time. And so like if you're like, oh hey, you're homeless, buddy, come sleep on my couch, and he just decides not to leave, like it's wild, So it's like I mean some of that is secondhand. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but it is extreme. So
yeah, on the other hand, I keep getting these articles like from Market Watch with advice column on investments. And like one I read was, I just inherited a house in San Francisco. How do I evict the old people living in the basement? And,
right.
Good luck.
And that's well, but then you would even ask the question or like, so there's
time. If they're that old is the easiest way. I mean, it's going to get them eventually.
This is kind of missing the point. The point is it's wrong.
On my side.
It's just wrong. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, no. If I get a house, I don't want stinky old people in it. Get them out.
Yeah. There. Yeah.
Have you told your
There's
parents?
always the compassionate versus.
Well, I haven't gotten the house yet.
Yeah. I'm a
Presumably, if they give it to me, they will be going somewhere else.
He is. You have noticed he's not in the basement anymore, though, right? So he's been recording.
Upgraded.
So the shoe is on the upper hand now.
I'm simply not in the kitchen. It's the same.
You used in the kitchen before, but I feel like your parents just stopped by a lot,
Gotcha.
so I thought they were maybe like you had one half of the house, they had the other or something.
No, it's a 2-family. They are upstairs. I am the downstairs apartment.
He's the stinky old people in the basement.
I am.
So
no. Because we have an actual basement, and while there probably is a dead body in there somewhere that we haven't found yet,
Ah,
it's not me.
Jersey.
So a two family, is that a rental where you rent the bottom, they rent the top, or is you
No,
own?
it's an owned house, and it's just two separate levels. With like I have my kitchen, they have their kitchen, yada yada yada.
And their
and-
address wise, you have B, they
Yeah,
have
same
A
address
or something.
No,
No,
same
okay.
address. So it's just a matter of wherever the mailman or FedEx wants to deliver.
Okay.
I mean,
thought
I
it would
will
have to
put
be-
downstairs for my stuff, and
What about
sometimes it will actually
utilities
come to
then?
me. Yeah, no, same. It's
Okay,
there.
so it's a
Whatever.
fixed, efficiently. It's one place, but the whole thing is.
Yeah, Brooklyn and Queens and places like that, they have a lot of these. So it's like a row of 7 two-family houses in a row as one big structure, but everybody owns their own whatever,
Okay.
and that's just
Yeah,
what it
not a
is.
lot of that here, from what I know.
I mean, some of them are rent. Like the guys next to us, they live upstairs, but they rent the bottom one out.
Right. Yeah. No, I was just thinking because here I think you could basically do the same, and people would do, but the addresses have to be like, for example, A and B. It would it would have to be separately registered and separate utilities. You couldn't have both use the same. I think.
Yeah, some of them are like that, but they don't have to be. It's just the property is the property. I think most people do that for the sake of their mail than anything else.
Okay.
But again, it depends, I guess, on where you are.
Most
I don't know.
important thing about your house is how close are you to the nearest Costco?
How close is the nearest Costco to me here? The one I know for sure is probably like, if there's no traffic, it's probably like 20 minutes.
Might be. I mean, with all this inflation and Costco's president is like, we're not raising the price on the food court items. It's just a better and better deal.
Oh, Costco's very good at they're one of the few positively known companies for pricing, for waging, for all this stuff, that they have no incentive to go the other way because they get the good benefit of that.
Yeah,
You know,
some of that probably also stems from they have a different kind of a system, right? It's a subscription you have to pay to shop there, correct?
It pays for itself.
Membership.
Oh yeah, you have a membership that allows you to go there,
Yeah, just that means recurring revenue, and that's gotten very
Yes.
big over the past
Yes.
15 years.
and a
so.
lot of their stuff is Kirkland brand, which is all the in-house stuff. So,
But they're always
Right.
really good quality in-house brand. Like the Kirkland brand.
oh yeah, no, it's
is
like their
very
vodka.
good.
Their vodka's like Grey Goose, basically. It's
Yeah.
the same thing, but it's just slightly.
Their
not.
brandy, their XO brandy is actually really, really good.
I'm
I
just
always
thinking
knew
about
you
the
were
food
like
court.
a pipe and brandy kind of person. It's just a homebody.
Space Sides and brandy. And
What's
Grand Marnier.
Justin's go-to hard liquor?
Absinthe.
Whatever's at hand.
Gross.
Yeah, I am not particularly cultured with drinking, so and it's
We'll get
it's
to
gonna be hilarious. This is a meme for all of you guys, so get your pen and paper ready. But because the wife worked at a bar, she usually orders for me. So, but I'll do all the classics, like screwdrivers, gin and coke, or rum and coke, or whatever, and any kind of other thing. I drink so seldomly that mostly it still just tastes like alcohol to me, right? So it's like, I don't necessarily have a
So you don't have to
particular
evolve
flavor.
past the college drinks.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, and even still, like, I mean, I've had a lot of just every kind of different thing, but like the staples are staples for a reason, and everybody knows what they are. What the ingredients are. Everybody knows how to make them. So like even when I was in India, like we had a couple of drinks, and it was screwdrivers, because I knew what should be in a screwdriver even in another country. So.
Yeah, pretty much.
But-
You lived in India for a while.
No, I was there for like 3 weeks to a month, so I was there for work. But yeah,
So he existed in India.
Very good.
a month is a decent chunk to spend time in an area and get a feel for the locality, though. So
How much diarrhea did you get? I guess.
0 actually.
Woo!
Like my thing though was like certainly like in week 2 I was losing weight at like an alarming rate, and by week 3 I had run out of all of the holes in my belt and was adding new ones and was still like holding my belt, And it's funny because like one of my more favorite stories for that is that one of my friends there, we had rented a cabin. We had gone out to a hill that normally is chill, but it's in India. And so like everything has a festival, everything has a deity associated with it, everything has whatever. We just so happened to pick the one day a year that hill was having their festival. And so we were there with a bunch of drunken, rowdy, locals and that sort
Indians.
of thing. And I'm a foreigner, and my
Native
friend,
Americans, not Indians. Native
Wow,
Americans,
guys,
okay?
wow.
Seriously.
Even
We
for-
are not politically correct here. Remember, we're black
We're
pilled.
gonna get canceled.
Oh no!
So
There was just very, very quickly. There
I
was a friend of mine back when I worked at a summer camp. He was tired of everyone telling him he was African American. He was like, "No, I'm British. I'm just black. Just call me
right,
black."
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, it's funny. So like they're there and they're drunk on some fermented something, right? But I'm a foreigner, obviously, but I'm at least over 6 feet tall, and most of them are like 5.5 at best.
So you
And
can take
then-
them.
And then my friend is like 4.5 feet tall, but she's from the north, so she might as well be a foreigner as well. And so they're all making snide comments in her direction. I don't speak Hindi, so it's all kind of lost on me. And I'm like, do I need to go talk to them? Because the other thing is like Americans, like they still at least have shades of the caste system, even though it's illegal and all of this other stuff, but it still plays out in the social
It's still
space.
very much a thing from what I
Americans-
understand. Yeah.
Americans are automatically the warrior caste, right? Regardless of what it is, because of like, World War II and all of the other stuff, like we're part of the warrior caste. So I'm like, do I got to go tell them to knock it off and whatever? And she's like, oh no, don't do that. But I get into this mode where I always take it to the ridiculous degree. And it's like, like it's going to be funny as shit if your family sees like crazy American fights 20 drunk Indians in the paper. And like, I just take off my belt and start like swinging it around and just whipping people with it. Right. And it diffuses the situation because it's like, obviously I do not want to be in a brawl with possibly hundreds of, drunk locals. Like,
Then did you even really
Venezuela
go
and-
to India if you didn't get into a drunken brawl with 100 Indians?
Apparently not, because it was only a near thing like 2 or 3 times. There was only like 2 or 3 times where, like when the locals get shy about certain things, you gotta know the signs, right? Like, but the other favorite one was like crossing the street, and when all the locals stopped and I kept going, and I was like, what the fuck did I miss that I just about walked into because you guys didn't come with me, but
No, you just got to tell them you're from New York because you walk whenever you want, wherever
you just the roads are wild. So like, yeah, there are definitely times where you've just got to gauge, the speed and just hope for the best and whatever. And yeah, they blinked and I didn't. And that was like one of the scarier moments was like, oh shit, everybody stopped and I didn't. So
Yeah, but they're all on human-pulled rickshaws, so you could probably take them.
I mean, some of like the tuk-tuks and stuff, you could knock those over. Like they'd hit you and put a dent in that. But
Especially
most
if it's
of them,
called a
like,
tuk-tuk. You just look at it and be like, walk away.
Right.
Tuk-tuk.
Some of them drive Geo Metros, and there's a lot of actual trucks. Like Geo
Wait.
Metro
Is it called a tuk-tuk because it comes from take, like they take you places?
Yeah, they
I don't
took you
think
somewhere.
so. Like,
Is that really it?
No, that's not really
Oh.
it. Why would that
I
really
thought-
be it?
Because England owned India for 200 years.
What do you mean? What do you mean
That's what I'm
past
asking.
tense? They still do. They just pretend they don't.
That's cynical. That's cynical.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, like, poor Gandhi, like, all that for nothing, and then he died.
Gandhi was overrated. And yeah, most people die. That tends to be the way it goes. That's how it happens.
Did you ever figure out why you were losing so much weight, Justin?
it just the food, man. Like it's nothing against the food, but it's a wildly different diet. And so like a combination of the spices
veggies,
and
basically,
just
right?
like, yeah, you're eating a ton of veggies, a ton of rice, and mostly chicken. Because they don't do beef and they don't do pork, depending on where you are and depending on who's present. So like chicken is usually going to be your protein of choice and whatever. But it got to the point where like my second week, I was losing like a kilogram a day type of a situation. And I was like finishing everybody's like, they're like, oh, I couldn't eat this. And I was like, okay, hand it over.
I need to
And-
get on an Indian. I need to start eating Indian food all the time.
You're the Homer Simpson.
Kind of. I mean, I'm still losing weight hand over fist, so it's like, what does it even matter? I was just trying not to like wind up in some kind of dangerous situation, or whatever.
No,
Yeah,
And
like
then,
an Indian hospital, that
um,
would have been dangerous.
Well, just excessive weight loss isn't healthy anyway. But
Allegedly.
what was? Oh yeah, and like biryani was kind of like indicative of it. And that's where I know like the spices came in, is because chicken biryani, I tried it twice, and it was the weirdest thing because it was spicy, but it wasn't like it was hot for me. Where I was just like, oh god, I need so much water and whatever. But talk about a hunger suppressant. I would get halfway through it and just be like, I can't eat anymore. Not because I'm full, but because my body has decided it hates food now. Like that kind of full, where it's just like, I'm not hungry anymore and I couldn't force myself to eat this. But I tried it like within my first week and then in the last week because I wanted to see if I had like adapted or not. And so that's why I'm like, even the kind of the spices played into it in the sense that it's like, they were just kind of a hunger suppressant and I probably wasn't eating very much. But, I definitely tried as many like snacks and different foods and whatever, and was not worried at all about like, eating too much because that was practically impossible for me, So,
Should have just gone to McDonald's.
yeah, didn't do that one. Did Domino's while we were out there. Saw Chili's, I think. I'm trying to remember. There's a couple of chains that, but like I
fun
mostly
to check the local like McDonald's variants though. Like
I would trust
well-
a McDonald's anywhere but North America at this point, based on the fact that you guys actually try not to kill people with the McDonald's. You have regulations. We don't.
right,
yeah,
right. Yeah,
You have to-
and I mean the locals, they have the variations on spices and stuff. Like I tried variations on like Chinese food, which is kind of funny, and like pizza. Even the pizza, it's like it's pizza, but you can tell that the spices are different, right? It was just like a little spicier, but it wasn't like even I think even in Utah kids could hang like, and where like table pepper is too spicy for some. But it was just I don't know, it was interesting and fun, but for the most part I just was like, what are you getting? Because like I want to try new things, so like whatever is your favorite, let's do that.
That was kind of me in Israel. I mean, I came back with a net positive as far as I didn't gain any weight or actually lost a pound or 3, but I ate because I'm used to that kind of food, sort of. Like obviously it's different when it's in the actual Middle East versus just kosher food. But there's plenty of that shit I don't eat. So it was like, okay, well, I'm just basically having chicken and rice or for dinner.
Right.
Actually, Ireland was the same. Their breakfasts were just, ugh. I mean, scrambled eggs were the only thing I could do because
What do you mean? Black
first of
pudding,
all,
man.
that black pudding's disgusting.
No, it's great.
Second of all, like
Sure,
their
Nash
sausage
doesn't
is
do it for you?
their sausage is hit or miss. Like you go to Cork, it's different sausage than in Dublin. You just don't know what you're
Makes sense.
getting. Their bacon is,
It's
the shitty
sausage.
Canadian kind of bacon.
You only need to be within like this
I mean-
close to the target for sausage, because it is ground up whatever animal put in somebody's intestines. Any more detail than that is too much.
I will say they, in general, over in the UK, is like very
Don't
miss
you
on
dare
the
call Ireland the UK.
It depends if it's
by the way.
northerners or like one of them is UK and the other
Yeah,
is not.
regular Ireland or crazy Catholic Ireland. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Yes. The bacon's very missed because they do like almost ham as bacon.
That's what they
instead.
do. It's
yeah,
the,
and it's
it's like
not
the
as-
Canadian bacon
Yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
It's like, I'm
not
sorry,
as
that's
good.
not bacon. Don't call it bacon. Stop lying.
we could-
to
it's-
me.
I mean, here
I'm from
it's
America. I know what bacon is.
Here it's ham. I'm from Denmark. I know what bacon is. We're a bacon country.
Yeah, and that's one of the only things you're good for.
Bacon and butter. That's like some of our biggest exports. Just ask Ben. He got butter cookies from me.
They were so good. They did
No
not
wonder
make it
America's
home.
such a
They
friendly.
did not make it out of the room. I opened the box. They did not make it out of that room.
I bought like a bigger one because I was thinking, he can have some and maybe he can share some at home. But
I
he's-
would have if they had
Karen
made
is
it.
not Karen.
They were actually because like I just wanted to make the number around where we're supposed to give for it. I think I was a little short, and they were actually surprisingly cheap. I was like, man, that's great. Danish butter. I love these. I like these a lot.
Did you get it to him in a tin so he can put his sewing stuff in it afterward? Or?
It's supposed to come in a tin, did
It
it?
did come in a tin.
Yeah.
So now he's got a place for his sewing supplies also.
Yeah. Thanks, Grandma. No,
No problem.
You are grandma now.
You're the grandma. Look at me. You're the
I
grandma.
do Grandma now. Oh, by the way, I used that meme when I was, as I teach history, when I was teaching about Henry VIII. He was like, I said, you remember know that meme? Look at me, I'm the captain now. That's what Henry
Look at me,
VIII
I am
did.
the Pope now.
Exactly. And the kid's like, oh, okay. Like they got it just completely right
Speaking
away.
memes.
Yeah.
That's how you reach the youth. You communicate.
And that's how you know the
memes.
rest of the world is doomed, because the youth speak in memes, and that's the only way you can teach them history.
It works, but also it's not just.
Oh, it doesn't
relegated to
work. It just
Gen
means they
Z.
get it in the moment, and then you write it on a test, and you're like, oh, fuck, what have I done?
That is absolutely what happened. Yes, that has happened so many times.
As a teacher, how do you feel about potentially the students cheating with ChatGPT really easily? And
Well,
do you,
I
you guys,
think
have you
that-
guys talked about it at faculty
Oh,
level?
yeah,
Like, are we going to
it's
check
like-
for it? Or
It's the big bugbear. I had to check a student already for it. I think the biggest problem is mostly the biggest problem is that you just don't assign work that could be done by ChatGPT, and if you do, they do it in person, handwritten. That's it.
that's that's what you've talked about,
Easy-
like,
that's
or
it.
is
That's
that your
the easy
solution?
That's a pretty easy solution. That is my solution. But
Until they put it in ChatGPT and just write it verbatim.
Right, but if they don't have any
Well,
computers
but then they have to
around,
memorize it anyway, and half of history is memorizing what you're doing. So,
yeah.
you trick them.
So,
And,
like,
if they bring up stuff I didn't talk about in class, I'm like, well, where'd you get this source? And then, well, I've tried to use ChatGPT just to generate like lists of information, things that I have to put in my content, and it's 80% correct and misleading because it's like just whatever people are saying on the internet. And it's not
that's the problem with it. Like,
quite
it's like it's confidently wrong when it's wrong. It's often right,
confidently
but when it's wrong, it's
Yeah.
just like, no, this
So
is
just
correct.
like everyone else on the internet, confidently wrong.
And
There's
also,
a whole subreddit confidently incorrect, just in case you guys haven't seen it. So.
And you know what? A lot of those times, those people, confidently incorrect. It's
And
ironic.
you know the other time, those people, podcasters. Just saying. So, because like, look, man, we're the experts. So there are definitely times where I've said
The
things
experts
with
on
more
being
confidence
incorrect.
than it deserved.
Yeah, but I've never been incorrect.
I've probably
so-
done it today that I've said things more confidently.
Yeah, like you were wrong about that Star Trek episode, Fighting with Cody.
I was not. So we're calling it a draw, and we've decided we can remain friends. So
For now.
because he was also wrong about some of those details, but
but
it's
Justin,
fine.
why are you doing that in the YouTube chat?
Yes.
Why are you not doing that on the Discord where people pay for it?
Because they're not on the Discord right now, they're here in the chat.
But you have to
you
pay.
pay
You have to
us, give me a
paywall.
You have to pay to argue with us. You can't do it
You
for
have to
free.
pay
here
to
on
argue,
YouTube.
Justin. You can't do it in the chat. You're giving away the secret sauce for free.
All right,
Just so
Cody,
we're
Dalton,
clear,
send in super chats,
Cody-
and then we can talk with you some more.
Yeah, Cody does pay us, so I can argue with him wherever the hell I feel like.
Well, he doesn't have to now. Like he just realized.
Yes, but he did decide to have an argument with us on our pay Discord yesterday about what would we do if we were wizards, and then it became guns.
That was a really fun
it
discussion.
was fun.
Yeah,
it was
like,
quite fun.
It would have
I
been a
liked
great show 57 minutes ago if we had kept with that.
Is
So
that what you guys were talking about? Because I just saw like 27 missed messages, and I just said no, and I scrolled.
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
delete.
It was something about
Red,
Howl,
I'm out.
and then healing from wounds. And wouldn't it be great if we were wizards to heal from broken pelvises better? And yeah, what would we do if we were
Broken
wizards and we were
pelvis, that's
going
a
to
very
fix
specific-
transportation so we no longer have to have a drive to work?
Well, maybe Cody's an old
Who
And
woman.
then
has, a,
guns.
who has a broken pelvis?
Cody's an old
Ebenezer.
woman.
And
Oh.
Ebenezer does.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Uh,
both relevant and.
Do you get the trade-off though of not using tech? Because sorry, tech's too useful to me.
Oh no. Yeah, I straight up told my supervisor when I was working like 2 jobs ago that I was like, if I could do Flickum Bickus, I would trade in all of my Linux knowledge and all of my ability for Windows just to be that guy. And it's like, look, I know Pyro is like one of the worst mutants ever and whatever, but the fact that you could just generate fire at will, like, I think it would be enough, and I'd figure out how to work that into a proper talent. But
You guys need to check the YouTube video I linked when we're done.
everybody else go to Discord apparently and
Yeah,
pay
I will-
us. So
I will link it on our Discord. So if you want to see the video I'm talking about,
I mean, it is
it's
only
linked in our
$2 to get
special
to the
Inner
basic stuff.
Circle Plus tier in our while we weren't recording, where you can come hang out with us.
Yeah, that one is $12.
If you support us on Patreon.
Well, some of us are just going to scroll past what you say, and unless they see a flicker of something objectionable, then I'll yell at you.
And that is
Which, to be
have
fair,
a lot.
happens a lot because a lot of comments are stupid.
There's a lot of Lord of the Rings memes in various channels here.
Yeah, we really should restrict that to like maybe 3 channels instead of all of them.
A wizard memes exactly where he wants.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to restrict.
I have so much. I was like, man, I got to finish the podcast, man. I got to finish this. I got to finish the reading. I'm almost done with it. I love Lord of the Rings so much. I got so much to say about it. Off topic.
I mean, congratulations,
So
you did your
that
homework.
sounds to me like a skill issue on your part, and you should perhaps focus on
It's-
other
no,
things.
but this is me
Does
and
it-
Alex. Is all right. But we did talk
Does
about
it
it
really-
last time, but he
It's
wasn't
fine.
here.
That's true.
It's
That's
just,
fine.
I've had no motivation to not just Lord of the Rings. I have not read like anything.
Oh,
he doesn't even know how to read.
Sorry, man. What's going on?
No, it's because I've been like
He's doing projects.
Yeah, I'm doing like
Oh.
I'm really into doing some programming
For his
that's,
other
like,
podcast
taking a
that's
lot
not
of my
happening.
time, and then
The one he's trying to rope Justin into, but it won't happen.
man, I want to do that podcast, but no.
Maybe someday, but yeah, right now. I've
Why
got
don't you
other
create a
projects.
Justin AI to do the podcast with you?
There you go, Justin.
We do
GPT.
actually have so much content on our YouTube channel. I could probably train a voice AI on Justin's voice.
Oh, easily.
This
I
sounds
just won't
horrifying.
shut up. So
I could train all of you. I could have director
You gotta
Alex
make
say
sure-
whatever I want.
Don't you
you gotta
dare.
get
Oh no!
the
No,
tone
I've
right.
seen that.
So-
That's a creepy movie right there.
We can already have Director Alex say what we want as long as we push certain word buttons, and she will just repeat the thing you want her to say.
So look, watch this.
That's
Watch this.
not
Watch
remotely fair, but because I've worked
No,
with
no,
I've
no.
had the boss where we said like, dude, you say 4 things, we could replace you with a script that has 4 lines, and we wouldn't even fucking know any better. And what was great was his response to that was, "Come on," which was one of the 4 things that was on the list. Like we're like, see, it's working already. Like.
No,
Everybody's
no.
got their word triggers that we can just get them to say the thing we want them to say.
Then watch this for Alex.
Stop drinking. You're in
Joss
danger.
Whedon. Joss Whedon.
Eh.
What? That did not work as I thought it would.
I mean, you
That's
probably
because
should
you
be
prepared
wrong.
for it.
Josh Whedon's
That's true.
writing is the best, and he makes the best movies and
You
TV
can be
shows.
wrong.
Hey,
You can suffer in
that's
mediocre
possible.
content.
Meanwhile,
How do you feel about Dark's follow-up
Gideon the
TV
Ninth
show
over
being
here.
canceled after 1 season?
Angry.
How's 4 Lions treating you?
Very well.
God.
Why is this becoming?
you had like a solid
examination?
3 months where I wanted
To a
to kill
robot. Did
myself.
it replace you already? Like,
I'm now remembering. Alex had a solid 3 months of content where I wanted to kill myself. 4 Lions,
Like,
Gideon the
yes.
Ninth.
oh, okay.
Oh,
was just
I
so
was
many
like,
things
the
wrong.
gear gadgets and guns, like that's been a couple
horrible.
years.
No.
So
They keep,
Ugh.
I get what you mean with where you come from with getting the 9th, but like on the other hand, it keeps hooking me in the end to get. I wanted to get the next one.
That's
You gotta
because you're
know
a
how it ends
simple
at this
creature who
point,
has
so-
no willpower.
The first half not so great, and then it gets exciting, kind of, and the world building intensifies, and I want to know more. And I like every character except the main character almost.
Which main character?
Imagine that.
There's
Gideon
too
is
many
tec-
main characters. now?
Gideon is technically the main character, right? It's just the first book.
Does it count when she's just a voice in the head
I don't
anymore?
know. I don't know.
spoilers, gosh.
Did you guys talk about it? I mean, I know
Of
the
course we
plot. I just didn't bother reading after the first one.
It's-
Yeah, we
it-
talked about it. We've read the damn thing. Like,
talked so
So-
much about it.
No, but I mean, for the people who would.
I had an
Please.
easier time getting
Wouldn't
through
be a
all
spoiler
3
here.
Gideon universe books than even just the first Lord of the Rings. We'll say that.
Oh, that's sad.
yeah,
You tell
that's
such sad
get-
stories.
get some culture. Like seriously,
really.
my dude.
Read the Silmarillion.
I'm.
What's
Oh,
wrong with you?
sheesh, okay, get
No,
some
no, no,
culture.
no.
It's just
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no,
it's
no.
it's so fucking long-winded. Yeah, whatever. We can talk about
Yes,
that when we
let's-
actually say, you know what, whatever. Yeah,
We promised we wouldn't talk about Lord of the Rings this episode about Lord of the Rings.
I do.
love Lord of the Rings so much. It's
I love
so
the
You're
movies.
gonna
good.
have to wait
I
another
love the
2
movies.
weeks
I'll
to
get-
talk
So
about it.
good. Oh,
I'll go
man.
watch the movie right
I'll
now.
practically be done with it by then. So
And by the time we get to 2 weeks from now, something else will come up. And
no, not for this podcast. Like hell, by then maybe we'll have an Aeronauts win list.
I was going to say, and then you people are going to talk
Oh,
about that.
man,
and I'm
that
just
is
going to
so
bang
good.
my head on the desk.
You are
Wait,
joining
wait,
in.
wait,
There's
wait.
fires.
Have you guys done a thing about what's Jim Butcher's best series?
The
About
The Dresden
No,
Files.
The
Yeah,
Dresden
yeah.
Files?
the podcast we
You
run.
really tried to bait us out
No,
there. You
no,
forgot who you're
clearly
talking
his
to.
best. No, I remembered. I was trying to really remember the series. Forget that. Codex
Yeah.
Alera. Codex
Are
Alera.
you-
now.
Get him
We've
the
talked
fuck.
about it before.
Get him
but-
Is it-
out.
Yeah. Codex Alera is
We-
amazing.
Andreas, what was that
Legitimately
positivity
great.
ranking you were going for earlier? Is that still stand now?
You know, it's mid. You know, it's whatever. Meh, meh.
even
I
the
can cosplay
Canadians
like
got
Alex,
limits. All right, so like even the Canadians have participated in world wars. You can push people too far, man. So,
Codex
but yeah,
Alera is
we've
better
talked
than
about
Dresden.
we've talked about all of the other books, not necessarily compared because the podcast is called the Dresden Files podcast. So we already decided when
Yeah, I
we
mean, we
started which
A
one.
did have
subsidiary
at
of the
least one
Codex
episode
Alera.
on Cinder's
I
Web.
know.
University.
I know. I'm just yanking your chain. But the Codex Alera is legitimately great.
There was
I
one.
have gotten stuck in the second book 3 times. I have really
The
tried.
book was my favorite. I don't understand you.
I don't know.
All right, Andreas, Codex Alera or Lord of the Rings? So clearly it's Lord of the Rings because you can actually get through it.
I mean, I don't. Neither? Can I pick neither?
No.
No, you
Then I
gotta
pick
one.
Codex Alera.
Oh,
Yeah, oh, wait,
you're
no.
a bad person.
No! Lord of the Rings is so much better. Dang
You
it!
see
What
what
have I
you- see
done?
what you-
What have I
you see what
done?
you've done?
No!
I am more motivated to read Codex Alera because I love Jim
Oh.
Butcher's work than I am to read Lord of the Rings.
All right, get both of you out of here. We
How
fired
are
2 people
scallops out
today.
here? We
We're cutting
are-
our overhead.
At time of this no
Yep.
topic adventure.
We've been at time for like 6 minutes now.
This has been a travesty starring us. So
Some travesties are
I
fun.
feel like we had some good times.
I was going to say,
here.
we had a
Good
lot more
stories.
people watching this time. We should do Off the Rails episodes all the time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
we
fun
do
having
them about every
interactions.
2 weeks right now when you guys don't do your homework. So at least it was April Fool's. So if anybody calls it out, we could say the whole thing was a prank, right? So
Well, that's why we had Ben on.
We're not that professional.
The ultimate April Fool.
We're not professional enough for an April Fool's joke.
or
Not
are
professional enough
Eh,
to
it's
pull that
probably
off.
true.
That is definitely true. That's why I said it.
oh boy, here come the hot takes.
Jokes
The
on
episode
you
is
all.
complete.
We were just pretending to be retarded.